Hello, this is the RPG Crawler, and welcome once again to an RPG News Roundup, this time for July 27th, 2024, where each week I take a look back at the week in tabletop, computer, and console role-playing game news and bring you the highlights. As always, we will take a look at computer and console role-playing game news, and not in RPG news specifically, but in general gaming news. All of the Humble Games staff was laid off. It is a spin-off to the Humble Bundle that published various games, including things like Slay the Spire, Temtem, and so forth. It looks like this so-called restructuring just dismissed everybody. I guess no structure is a restructure, right? Anyway, Bleak Faith Forsaken is getting a console release. It looks like it will hit on August 6th and be targeting the PS5 and the Xbox Series X/S. A physical edition will follow on September 13th. Wild West Dynasty is set to leave early access on August 22nd. It looks like it's pretty much already been savaged in reviews based on the early access stuff. However, as it is extremely similar to their other game, Medieval Dynasty, to the point where it may as well just be the same game, just in a different setting. If you like that one, you might like this one. Mirthwood is set to release on September 11th. It looks like a farming sim sandbox RPG set in a medieval fantasy world, where you basically play somebody that's come to a different land in order to see what they can do. There is a demo available. Kill the Shadow was announced. It looks like it'll be a detective-based RPG with 2D pixel art characters on a 3D world. It looks like it'll be released sometime later this year. Again, there is a demo available. Shuffle Tactics is set to release in 2025. It'll target the PC and be a tactical RPG roguelite with deck-building elements. The Life and Suffering of Prince Jerian will be a sort of sequel, or at least something in a similar vein to the Life and Suffering of Sir Brante from the same group. I played a little bit of this a very long time ago. The first one a very long time ago. I enjoyed it. It's kind of like a narrative role-playing game. Rogue Knight was announced for sometime early next year. There is a demo available on this as well. It looks like it'll be a roguelike survival game set in a land filled with undead. It'll have base-building elements. As far as actual releases go, Werewolf the Apocalypse Purgatory saw its release. It is a sort of text-based, choice-driven RPG, like a choose-your-own-adventure or gamebook-style RPG kind of thing, set in the Werewolf the Apocalypse universe. Fallout London was released on GOG. Not a mainline, like, standalone release, but a overhaul. It's a total overhaul mod for one of the Fallout games. And it looks like GOG is using this as a sort of test to try and provide more of these one-click-and-done large mods on their platform. They've done a couple of these before, like the Daggerfall Unity mod, which went over. You know, their build isn't the greatest, but it'll be interesting to see more of these large-scale mods where you can just grab them and go. Lost Castle 2 was released into early access. It is a beat-them-up roguelite where you search for various treasures and items in order to build up your character, much like many RPGs. Ruzar the Darkstones, the sequel to Ruzar the Lifestone. It is a traditional grid-based movement dungeon crawler where you explore various realms. I played Ruzar the Lifestone. I need to get Indie Game Friday back. I just don't have time to do it. I've got a stack of reviews I already need to do, then adding an additional review, even a short review each week. I really need to do it again. Anyway, Doe, a crime strategy RPG, is exactly what it sounds like, although it's more of a strategy / 4X style game with RPG elements rather than just a straight-up RPG. It is in early access now. Forgotten Mines is a tactical turn-based RPG where you play various dwarves seeking to retake lost mines. Looks like a very simple sort of gameplay, too. Legend of the Moon looks to be a 2D Metroidvania-style action RPG where you explore various dungeons in a side-scrolling platforming manner. Elder Legacy looks to be an open-world-style action RPG inspired by a Borean myth. It is in early access, and there is a demo available. Tormentus is an action RPG and a tactical RPG, apparently, where you try to prepare your dungeon to face off against various intruders. It's in early access, and there is a demo available as well. Frontier Hunter Urza's Wheel of Fortune is an anime-style mix of JRPG, Metroidvania, and so forth, where you play somebody who has just obtained a hunter's license within the Imperial forces. Monsuta looks to be a casual action RPG with a bullet hell-style set of gameplay where you set out to destroy the evil Monsuta. Suppress Academician is a RPG set on a mysterious continent where you take over a dilapidated academy and need to restore it to its former glory. I'm not sure how much of this has been translated just yet. I'm assuming all of it. It's one of those ones where it's like this literal translation just doesn't exactly make for a great title to the game. Anyway, Harvest Days, My Dream Farm is a farming sim style game. Not sure how much of an RPG it is, but you just go take care of a farm in the country. Sounds fun. Crossover Roll for Initiative is a tabletop RPG inspired puzzle slash RTS slash strategy game where you defend your tabletop RPG character sheet from various pixelated enemies. It looks like a multi genre style thing. There is a demo available, however. Finally, Tales of Fablecraft finally entered early access. It looks to be a cooperative virtual tabletop RPG with a custom-built platform as well as a base game that includes one adventure for free just to try it out. I think they use their own system. I need to try it out. I may try it out and record my thoughts on it. Anyway, this lets me segue into tabletop RPG news. It looks like Chris Cox, CEO of Hasbro, has come out and flatly stated they are transitioning to a fully digital gaming company. It looks specifically that he said, quote, "We're going all in on becoming a digital play company," unquote. This pretty much seals the deal on the forward direction of both Dungeons & Dragons and Magic the Gathering. Whether this will keep up steam beyond just the near-term future, who can say, because a lot of the draw in D&D is being able to play it without everybody buying everything involved. So we shall see. In addition, Wizards of the Coast has removed the digital content team credits from D&D Beyond. That's just the people that helped prepare it for the new version of D&D for release on, the online platforms. Now, it must be nice to have such a rabid fan base and be such a large company that you can simply dismiss acknowledging all contribution from entire teams of people at a whim. While this mostly seems to be currently limited to that particular team, I imagine it's only a matter of time before a similar tactic is taken for other teams. We shall see. While most people ignore those sorts of credits, it can be incredibly useful looking back on games from decades later to follow the lineage of various contributions to the hobby as a whole, find out who came up with what ideas, many, many years down the line. Anyway, onwards towards minor and PDF releases, Akasha Retold Nexus Expanded for Pathfinder and Starfinder offers additional options revolving around the Nexus and planar convergences using the Akasha system. Then, Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting, The Shining Shrine, is available as a PDF. It is an adventure suited for 2nd, 7th, or 12th level characters, going along with the full Heliana's Guide to Monster Hunting. I think it's included in that guide if you already have it, but this is the standalone adventure for it. Kelphasil's Tales has several adventures for 5th edition. There is Crab Booby Trap, Kraken, Crimson Harvest, Crypts of Isania, Final Pilgrimage, Festival of the Lost, and Fear of Dragons. Grim Press has Unearthed Spoils, number 23, Mystic Monstrosities, a collection of material for 5th edition that deals with abominations, monstrous magic, and other creatures. It Came from Beyond the Stars is a 5th edition adventure dealing with something that fell from beyond the stars. Murder at Sea is a one-shot for 5th edition, although it's loose enough to be system agnostic if you want to play it that way. It focuses on criminal investigation and intrigue, as well as mini-games. Tides of Destiny looks to be a 5th edition offering that deals with exploring the ruined wreckage of various ships and looking for artifacts. The Hearts of Decay and Rebirth is a 5th edition adventure, a one-shot for levels 10 to 12. Last Night in Lawson looks to be a 5th edition adventure where bizarre lights are in the night sky over a backwater town, and the townspeople are wandering around in a daze, building a peculiar structure in the middle of town. This reminds me of the Dragonborn DLC from Skyrim. Anyway, The Dwagons Aware is a light-hearted one-shot adventure for 5th edition dealing with robberies that have resulted in the theft of a sheep. And yes, it is written like that, so... Slow Quest has several offerings compatible with 5th edition, but other rules-light games as well. There is Turmoil of the Tampered Tome, Worrywind, Trunk Trial Triumph, and Halls of Grauk. They also have a bundle with a bunch of their offerings available. Critical Kit has a few adventures of various sorts, from one-shots to solo crawls for 5th edition. There's The Frozen Beacon, The House of Cursed Things, The Dark Heart of Roscom, Once We Were Gods, and Long Night at the Spur. They have a number of other offerings for either system neutral or for other systems, but those didn't really... I tend not to cover adventures that are for very minute systems unless they come, on the same week of release as a minute system, or that system has built up enough steam where people are actually interested in it. Or if that particular adventure looks very, very good, then I might cover it. And most of that is because there's so much put out every week that I literally would be here for hours if I covered every little tiny thing that was released. And I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. I got to focus on stuff that people will actually most likely buy or at least be interested in learning about. Anyway, Critical Crafting, a different company, has a few offerings for 5th edition, each offering various encounters, stat blocks, player options, items, spells, and more. There is Exploring Extoris and Machines and Magic. And I believe Exploring Extoris expands something that they've already done in a prior offering. Riven the Flesh Weaver is a new creature for 5th edition, dealing with a Master of Necromancy and the Dark Arts. Oath of the Old Gods is a Paladin subclass, dealing with a Paladin sworn to long-forgotten powers. Homebrew Heathen has several offerings for 5th edition. There is Tommyknocker, a new playable race. Sun Elf, an elven subspecies focused on being riders on the steppes. Path of the Vulture Totem, a barbarian subclass dealing with primitive necromancy, and the Way of Death, an assassin-style monk tradition. I'll probably be covering less of their stuff again because some of these companies just put out a bunch of stuff really quick, like RPG Gamer. Gaming Brew and such, so I'll cover them on occasion, but sometimes some stuff may slip through the cracks just because there's just so much random stuff coming out from some of them. It looks neat though. That Path of the Vulture Totem looks like something I'd be interested in looking at. I might have to take a look at that. Anyway, moving onward, Dark Hand has 5th edition bonus action cantrips, a collection of bonus action focused cantrips for all spellcasting classes. Ted's Bazaar of Magic looks to be a 5th edition collection of magic items, each with illustrations, along with some recipes for crafting special magic items and so forth. Arcane Treasures look to be a collection of magic items with adventures for 5th edition. It'll also include new monsters and spells. RPG Gamer, as I mentioned earlier, has equipment for ancient cultures for 5th edition. It's a collection of equipment for ancient warriors divided into various eras and, more importantly, various geographical areas. There's the Aztec, the Renaissance, the Roman, and then feudal Japan. Kobold Press has Lineages and Heritages supplement, one for Tales of the Valiant, but generally 5th edition compatible. It details character building options expanded from the Tales of the Valiant book, which I believe is actually in a slipcase now available, although I did not find it in stock in the places I usually link from. Okay. Anyway, the Giant Moth did await us all as a level 1 adventure for Dungeon Crawl Classics, and I'm not getting into that because Moth. The Monk is a class for Old School Essentials, basically a version of the classic Monk from our OSE-style gaming systems. Ulfhedin is a group of werewolf warriors, an Old School Essentials character class dealing with shape-shifting warriors. It also includes new monsters. Dungeon Encounters, B&X Adventures, levels 1 to 3 is what it says on the tin, a collection of 30 encounter areas for dungeons designed for 1st to 3rd level characters on B&X style systems. Fantastical Classes. Blobs vs. Blades is a collection of character classes for OSE and similar OSR systems. There is the Adept, the Blob, the Dancer, the Fury, the Ophidian, and the Sword Mage. Melsonian Arts Council has a couple offerings for Troika campaigns and similar systems. There is the Ruinous Palace of the Metagorgos and the Benighted Betrothal. Sector 85, Adventures Beyond the Stars, is a setting inspired by low-budget sci-fi movies from the 60s to the 80s, compatible with Stars Without Number. Philip Reed has Unplanned Encounters with the Undead, a collection of encounter hooks dealing with what it says on the tin, undead. Rack and Ruin is a collection of house rules and goblins for old school systems, mostly rules options and playable monsters in the races class sort of format. Twisted Daggers is a zine for 4 Against Darkness that includes 36 magic and unusual daggers. Age of Ambition, The Black Auction, is an adventure supplement for Age of Ambition. It features a doomsday device that has been come up for auction by a criminal syndicate. Quarter Shots, Woodlands and Waterfalls is a collection of system-neutral side quests that can be dropped into any RPG session with 0 prep. This one details many side quest adventures and such revolving around woodlands and, of course, waterfalls. The Great Book of Random Tables, Quests, is a collection of many adventure ideas for all general fantasy RPGs, divided into a large number of tables. The Book of Dungeon Crawl Adventures is a collection of tables meant to help flesh out dungeon environments for pretty much any RPG system. Defiant Reign is a supplement for Defiant that gives information on Defiant royalty. And it's supposed to be one of 2 offerings. I think the other offering is listed somewhere separately. I didn't see it come up this week. Star Animal Studios has a number of offerings for the Secret World, Savage Worlds. There's a core book that brings the MMORPG to the Savage Worlds rule set. There's also Stoneward Bound, an adventure, and Secret World Archetypes, a collection of archetypes. There's also a number of other supplementary materials, such as cards, tables, charts, that sort of, or maps, that kind of thing, if you're interested in those. Smash, a revised core rulebook, is a superhero-style genre game based on the concept of asymmetrical gaming. That is, that all the classes are a little bit different, and this is something I can get behind because, they all operate differently, and that's something I can get behind because that was actually pretty old school. Modifius has Map Pack 2, Wasteland Locales for Fallout the role-playing game. I don't usually cover map packs, but hey, this is interesting. Which is just a collection of encounters, maps, and so forth for Fallout, the role-playing game, or the Wasteland Tactics one that they have separately. Trinity Continuum Aether is a rule set and setting expansion for the Trinity Continuum line that deals with a Victorian-era setting. Shadowrun Final Bets is a campaign book set in Paris for the use for the Shadowrun 6th world. Finally, there is Avoid Things, a cosmic horror monster supplement for the Mothership RPG, just a 2-page pamphlet that offers information on the Void Things. And now, on to RPG crowdfunding campaigns. Remember that contributing to a crowdfunding campaign should be done only at your own risk. Doing so is no guarantee of even receiving a product. Mentioned here is not an endorsement, but is for informational purposes only. And it looks like a few computer and console RPG crowdfunding campaigns caught my eye this week. We'll start with Undead, which looks to be a new Apple II role-playing game produced by 8-Bit Shack, who specialize in new games and tools for the Apple II machine. Undead will have a variety of places with various NPCs and can be used either with a floppy disk emulator or a physical machine. As expected, it's probably going to be a pretty light RPG because it's running on an Apple II. Anyway, Ayun, Split in Time, looks to be a time travel action RPG. There will be a full 3D style RPG looking to target both PC and certain console systems. Echo Lake looks to be a Game Boy inspired RPG / adventure inspired by Legend of Zelda and Final Fantasy, but it is set in 1995 and mixes Tim Burton style aesthetics with an immersive story. Finally, as far as computer and console role playing games go, there is Diegeses of the Ruined, which looks to be a post-apocalyptic card game with RPG elements inspired by some Christian themes, but it's kind of like a dark kind of setup. Anyway, onward towards tabletop RPG crowdfunding campaigns. There is Nimble 5th Edition, a fast tactical tabletop RPG compatible with 5th Edition. They also are currently having a sort of cross-promotion with another one, Fairy, the Realm Wanderer's Guide, which will be a sort of Fae expansion for 5th Edition as well. The Phoenix's Call looks to be a high fantasy 5th Edition campaign set in a world of Shadow March. It'll have you facing off against forces threatening to unleash an ancient evil. Sea Monster looks to be a collection of sea monsters and nautical adventures, as well as loot for versions of 5th Edition, Black Flag, Tales of the Valiant, Pathfinder 1st and 2nd Edition, as well as Pirates and Plunder, which is a separate system. High-level adventures will be a set of 5 adventures for 5th Edition, meant to be short adventures meant for levels 10 to 16. The Lament of the Lambs looks to be a 5th Edition one-shot with a focus on investigation, where the culprit you're looking for is hiding amongst the innocent. I suppose it's better than hiding amongst the guilty. Anyway, Debt to Corruption will be a 5th Edition heist-style adventure where the party is sent to plant evidence in the property of an unsavory member of the Emergence Guild. Oh man, I'm sneezy today. Okay. Into the Wilds looks to be a collection of material for wilderness adventures for Pathfinder 1st Edition. It'll feature everything from monsters, archetypes, various hazards, diseases, etc., adventure hooks, playable races, and so forth for jungle, tundra, and desert biomes. Wasteland Chronicles Beyond the Wall will be a 5th Edition post-apocalyptic adventure where you are set to find water for your settlement by crossing a mile-high wall. Iron Kingdom's Strange Light Workshop looks to be a standalone 5th Edition based setting based on occult and otherworldly investigations set in the Iron Kingdom's universe. Echoes of Olympus will be a 5th Edition supplement focused on Greek myth, offering new character options, artifacts, monsters, and gods, spells, and so on, based on Greek myth, of course. Shotglass Adventures looking to fund 3 more one-shots for the 5th Edition and OSR systems. As usual, they'll be focused around a similar setting. It looks like this one will include Friends Like These, The Graven Gate, and Garote's Madness. The Fantasy Grind will be a 5 pamphlet-style adventure set and resources for Old School Essentials, 5th Edition, and similar systems, basically any fantasy RPG. They will include War Orcs, Dark Dwarves, Desert Dogs, Death Empire, and the Shadow Master. Flames and Flails, a fiery adventure game, looks to be an adventure pamphlet, again, for Old School Essentials and similar OSR systems. And then Philip Reed is looking to fund a box for pamphlet-style adventures, as well as including 2 new ones. It looks like pamphlet adventures are beginning to become more popular, so you may need a place to stash them. The Fantasy Trip Hexagram number 13 will be another entry into the retro-style zine for the Fantasy Trip, and will include articles and materials for that system. The Sword Wastelands of Iraq will be a 2-sheet tabletop RPG with an OSR feel where you play as a risen undead warrior. Torque looks to be a fantasy tabletop RPG, meaning to combine classic RPG stylings with modernist system design using a modular style like pretty much like a dozen of similar systems. I'm hoping this one actually distinguishes itself. Candela Namicon #1 Blackout will be a one-shot for Candela Obscura, featuring Mr. Nightfall from the core rulebook. D6 Second Edition, D6 System Second Edition, will be a revision of the classic West End Games rule set that was behind Star Wars, Ghostbusters, and a couple other things, put out as a multi-genre rulebook set. Pew Pew Bounty Hunters in Space for Savage Worlds looks to be a micro-setting, the Pew Pew Bounty Hunters in Space, like OSR-style system. It takes that setting, themes, and converts it to Savage World compatible offering. Finally, there is March's Adventures #1 to 5 for Traveler in audiobook format from Audio RPG. They seek to put various RPG books, supplements, and so forth into an audio format so you can listen to it as you go, or if you have issues reading. With that, I'm going to wrap things up here. This has been the RPG Crawler with my RPG News Roundup for July 27th, 2024. As always, links will be below. If you like what you've seen, remember to leave a like, comment if you got any feedback, and subscribe for more RPG content. I have a bunch of reviews that I need to get done, and they should have been done this week. I would like to apologize for that. I picked up Unicorn Overlord finally this week, so that's been my week. I apologize very greatly. I'm sorry I didn't record it. I'm not set to record up for my Switch, so anyway, until next time, take care and goodbye.
And if you are still watching, I would like to take the opportunity to thank my supporters, the top tiers of which are listed on the screen, without whose support I would not have been able to offer the variety of content that I have on this channel throughout the years. If you're feeling particularly generous and would like to join them, you can support the channel. There are a variety of options to do so. I have a Patreon, a Subscribestar, as well as channel memberships enabled. If you are not in a position to contribute, simply leaving a like, a comment, or sharing my videos are all wonderful ways to help the channel grow without spending a dime, and are all greatly appreciated.